Good morning, everybody, or actually good afternoon. It's Sunday, and I am here at my local dive bar. I'm sorry I didn't get a video posted yesterday. I had other things to do. It's the holiday season, so my apologies, guys. But as you can see, I've got a brand new piece I'm working on. This piece is another Star Wars piece. This is based on the characters in the Star Wars comic book between the New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. So, in fact, this character here appeared in issue 7. Issue 7 was the first issue of the series after the mini-series of the movie itself. And in it, they pick up with Han Solo leaving Luke and Leia and leaving Yavin, and they go to a planet where they take a job with this character here. These characters were interesting to me because, like, oh wow, look at these alien creatures. Because remember, the whole thing that really made Star Wars so cool was scenes like the cantina in Mos Eisley. These are just regular people. They weren't the things that go bump on the night. They're just there having a beer and chilling out. So the very first, I think it was like issues 7 through 11 or 7 through, I think it was 7 through 11. It was a Han and Chewie story. And in the first issue, they take a job up from this creature, from this guy here. And then the following, they basically did the Magnificent Seven. And in the Magnificent Seven movie, it was hired guns to protect a village. Same thing applied here where they did this movie, where they did the comic book. And you had this guy with his robot, the porcupine guy, the old, I think it was Don Juan Quixote, who patterned himself as a Jedi. And then, of course, you had, I think it was started with a J, and it was the rabbit, the green rabbit. So I thought we'll do those, and then over on this side, I've got the bad guys. I've got the red pirate, and then his sidekick or his second mate, Jolly, and then this was the when they went to the water world. This was the pirate. So down here I have spaceships. I loved when they first did the series. They had They had these new ships. This was the Rabbit's spaceship with the girl who had the cross eyes. This was their ship. This was Vance's spaceship, and then this was a ship. It was It was okay. Michael Golden did the story. It was a one-off story, and he designed the spaceship. And again, this is one of those like, oh wow, look at this spaceship. This is so cool. It looks like a Star Wars. All three of them, they look like Star Wars spaceships, but they were new to than what you saw in the movies. So, and as you can see, this is the first one I did, and what I did was I was using this as my vantage point, and then I used the sides to get these sidelines, okay, for the construction of the ship. But you look, this ship is not very dynamic compared to this one. It's because this one's parallel, so it's creating a static line between the border and the ship. So this one, I do need to redraw him. I need to redraw it, and I need to use, so these lines are not, they're at an angle to the border, so that way it gives the ship more motion and action to it. So it was something I recognized almost immediately. So, but I wanted to I was impatient with getting one of the other ships in. So in this one here, I just drew him in. I used these lines to figure it out. So that one this one here I might redraw completely. I don't know, but I know the one that Michael Golden designed. That one I'm definitely going to redesign that one. So, but no, so that's where I am here with this. The one up here is going to be the one bad guy. He has like a bit of a Flash Gordon-like character. He had like visor glasses, and he was holding a lightsaber. And I couldn't find a pose that I really liked. So I'm like, okay, I'm off to take that picture of myself. And sure enough, right after I was deciding that, Miss Stippling called me and she was like, can you please bring down a roll of paper towels? The roll that's sent downstairs is empty. And so I took it down and I was like, oh, don't throw away that cord for the paper towels. I need that. And I was explaining the whole, like, I need to take a picture. I can't find, I go full explanation. And when I finally get to the, like what it is, she like just looks at me and she goes, why didn't you just say that you needed it because you needed a lightsaber? Instead of going a full explanation, why did you just say I need that for a pose because I need someone who looks like a Jedi? And I was like, oh my gosh, I love you, honey. I don't know about you guys, but relationships I had in the past prior to Miss Stippling, if I really was into Star Wars, the one was even, most of them kind of okay. The one was actually outright disapproving of Star Wars and comic books. And why I lasted with her, I do not know. I never should have. But it's so refreshing to have a girlfriend who, when you talk about comic books or you start talking about Star Wars, she gets it. I mean, like, she's watched the Star Wars movies with me. In fact, she had already, when the Mandalorian TV show first came out, she had Disney Plus, and I didn't. So she had already seen the Mandalorian TV show, and she was like saying like, yeah, it's really good. So I knew right there and then, I was like, okay, this is a good person to have as my girlfriend because she's not going to shy away from or disapprove of science fiction. So I was kind of glad. I'm very glad about that. So, but yeah, like I said, I was just like, oh, this is so nice. I can talk about this and I can tell you like what I need to do with this. I need to take this photograph and explain it all. And she's not like, really? She's like, okay, get in the pose you want. Here, take a picture. Okay, is this what you want? No, okay. We need to change. Okay, what changes do you want made to the angle, to the for what you want to do? And so I still need to take that photograph. I should do that tonight when I get home. So, but yeah, it's going to be the bad guy up here holding the lightsaber. We're going to have Valance here, and I'm going to have like part of his robot face showing through. He's going to be another one of those where he's going to fade into the space, so he's almost like bleeding out of the space behind him. And then of course we've got the female gunfighter Amazonia. She's going to be here. I'm going to have like here, you're going to have her ass, and then come up, and you're going to have her tits over here, her arms coming here. I'll probably have her holding, like, see with the rabbit here, I'm not going to just have her, maybe what I'll do is I'll just re-angle her, so instead of like a 3/4 shot, so we get the butt and the tits, have it so you see the tits, see her head, and then have her like holding her hand up with her pistol, maybe her other hand holding down here with the pistol right below her tits. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. That's the nice thing, is I can change from what I originally thought, because this is just, I just drew it as like an oval as a placeholder for where I want to have her, which is what a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just put like ovals in, like I want this character here, this character here, just draw ovals. You don't need to know what's going to be there, as long as I know what's going to be there. That way I can draw it in. So, but then also it gives me the ability, so like in this situation where I don't have it completely done, but the other piece is completely done, I can now go in and start drawing it. So you guys will get to see the drawing stages at the same time as the inking stages, since I'm essentially doing both at the same time. Normally I wouldn't advise doing that, but in this instance, because it's just a fun piece, like I said, this is kind of like if I was doing something in my sketchbook. And so instead of doing a sketchbook, doing a sheet of paper, and that way you can see it. And then that way when I'm done, if I want to sell it, I can sell it. So, I don't know. So that way also I can then scan it in and experimenting with doing computer coloring with it. So, but no, I was really happy about that. Today, like, well, not today, but like this is definitely the season for crowdfunding. We've received so many books in the last few months. It's been great. I mean, for a while there we had a drought of no books, and now we've got so many books coming in. It's great. Friday I got Billy Tucci's Senuacra, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, Omnibus. So that was really good. I was having a bad day on Friday, and it arrived in the nick of time. It really, my attitude during the day greatly picked up after I got that book. And so when I was done working, I was flipping through it, and it is a really nice book. I'm really glad that Billy did it, and I thank him so much. That's where I did when it was doing the review or the unboxing video of Billy's book. I had bought a bag of Doritos and a bag of Middlesworth potato chips, and that's where I was doing my Doritos analogy. So whenever you see me in the chat and they're talking about crowdfunding and whatnot, that's the reason why I'm always saying be Doritos, be Doritos. That's why. It's because you want to get your product out to as many crowdfunding sites as possible to grab the biggest audience you can. So you get that way. Because remember, the whole point of hitting multiple sites is to get as many backers as possible and to raise as much money as possible. Is you specifically, because you want that order number when you go to the printer. If you're having them print 100 books, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars, as opposed to I'm asking for let's say I've raised enough money from multiple sites and multiple campaigns or on multiple sites that now, because of the backer numbers and because of the amount of money I've raised, I can now spend, instead of getting an order of 100, I can now do 1,000 or 2,000, and that lowers your printing costs. So I think that's a great advantage to doing multiple sites. And you take a look, Billy Tucci's taking advantage of it. Andy Smith, who he's in the middle of fulfillment now for Quardrath. He is also you gotta keep in mind he hit 100,000 because of the fact that he did multiple campaigns or on multiple sites. So he was able to get the printing costs down because he was able to how much money he raised and how many he bought, not just for the backers, but for himself also. He said that the hardbound book was more limited than the regular book. So I'm looking forward to getting that. Aaron Lopresti, if you haven't gotten his book, you will definitely want to go over to his Kit Carter campaign, and you're definitely, because he's in the middle of fulfilling Wraith of God, and it was a great book. I really do enjoy it, even though I didn't like the nightclub, and I wasn't completely crazy about the Garbage Man. It was worth the $25 for the Kit Carter story, and it was for the Wraith of God story. So I'm very, very happy. If you didn't back it, I would advise you go to his Kit Carter campaign and get the catch-up tier so you can get the other Wraith of God books, or he might have it available soon or on his website for you to buy. So, but yes, we've got a lot of campaigns that are in fulfillment phase, and so I would definitely and remember, Ghost of Matacumba Key. Graham has announced that it is going to the printers, or it's gone to the printers, so that way he's going to be fulfilling his soon. So, and what I really like about that was Graham and Julie have really set themselves up that if they chose to, now they choose not to now, but if they're at the point that if they chose to, Julie does almost all of the fulfillment herself at their fulfillment center, that Graham could actually get to the point where he could become a fulfillment center, where if you, let's say, Cecil's next book, when he does the Second Chance campaign, okay, he could have the book shipped to Graham's Fulfillment Center, and Julie could then do all of the fulfillment for him, because it's right there. It's right down the street from the post office. It's at a nice location. They have very low overhead, and I think, and plus also with Cecil having to if he has the tier where he's going to sign the books, it's a much shorter distance for him to drive up to Buffalo, New York, to sign all the books, and then Julie will then fulfill them. So I think I like what I'm seeing here in the crowdfunding scene. That's the reason why I don't like it when the chat gets doom and gloom, and I'm just as at fault here, because a lot of times when we're talking doom and gloom, we're discussing Ethan and Shane and John Malin, when there's so many other creators doing it right. Sometimes I catch myself that I say we have to, they're the biggest dogs in crowdfunding, so that's the reason why we talk about them. But it's one of those where it's like we need to start, and I do like that about Stat too, because he's always brings up what Pete Cimetti is doing right, and we need to be focusing more on what Pete Cimetti's been doing, as opposed to what Graham instead of what Ethan and John Malin are doing. And so we really need to be focusing on the crowdfunding creators are doing it right, because they are really providing that blueprint or model for how to do it successfully. So, but yeah, so I do like the fact that we've got so many good books in fulfillment, and we're receiving them. I can't wait. It makes me more positive towards next year. I think some of these creators are getting it, and they're just, hey, let Ethan and Graham, let Ethan and John Malin do their thing, but we're not doing that. We're doing this. So, which also brings up that we were talking about last night about the Chicago Con, and how those three guys are doing triptych covers as a means to raise money for them to go. And at first I had the same attitude of everybody else, which is how all these creators, they've been doing cons a lot longer than these guys, and they've always been doing it in their own dime. Billy Tucci's and I would say Andy Smith are the prime examples. They lots of times they're going on their own dime, so they're willing to turn a profit at the shows. And so everything from travel to the booth decorations to the hotel accommodations, Billy and Andy, they do it all on their own. They're footing it on their own dime. They're not doing it under someone else's dime. So I do see where a lot of people are being rubbed the wrong way. Like, wait, you're not paying for me? Wait a second, if I back this, it doesn't get me anything, it gets you something. And I look at it, and then at the same time also, I'm like, it's because of something Shane Davis said this last week, okay? He said it in such a way as in what meant, and this is the thing where they need to change their approach in promoting their campaign, okay? Is the purpose of this isn't for hotel accommodations, it's for the booth presence. Remember, they're not going to be an artist, they're not doing this so they're an artist alley, okay? Squeezed between Walt Simonson on one side and Brian Keatson on the other, and Brian Keatson on the other side. How they're looking at it is we want to go and we want a presentation that's equal to a Marvel or DC presentation. Right now, and I think that's what they need to be doing, is like, okay, right now with the funds that we've gathered, we can provide you with a Boom Studios presentation level. But are we Boom? No, we're better than Boom. What we need is we need this much money, so our booth setup and layout is like this. And if we get up to this level, so like you think about it, like right now they've got the money that they can do some banner drop claws in front of the tablecloth, like kind of like tablecloths at the booth, and they can have those projector screens of their product behind them. But if they get up to this level, now they can have a big billboard-sized banner sitting behind them. And if we get to this level, we can have the booth looking like this. And if we get to this level, because I really look at it, and I'm dead serious when I say that saying that we're going to have like this person, that person, those people, okay, they've already, like having Cecil, having Anna there. First of all, you already know that Cecil's going to probably go on his own because he's been to Chicago multiple times on his own. He's even said how he'd reached the point that he's not even wearing a mask, and people come up to him saying, "Hey, can you sign this?" Because they look and go, "You're Cecil," and he's like, "Yeah, I am. Can you sign this?" Okay. So saying that she's like, "Oh, we'll get Anna there." Anna doesn't move books. I'm nothing against Anna. Anna's a great YouTuber. But if you want to make an impact to get new comic book backers and new comic book fans, you need to get comic book creators to this show, okay? You need to have, okay, we're going to have, do this. Right now it's John Malin, it's Shane Davis, it's Ethan. If we raise this much money, we can afford to pay for, let's just say, Dan Fraga. We can pay for Dan Fraga to fly up, to come up to the show. If we raise this much money, we can then get Andy Smith out to the show. If we, we can get, remember, like some of these creators like Graham and Art, they've made it very clear that the reason why they go to the shows that they go is because they have an appearance fee. Okay? So if you want Art to be at C2E2, they need to be like, okay, Art, you charge require an appearance fee of $3,000. Okay, when we hit this level, we can afford to have Art Adams, or we can afford to have RT Bear come out to our show. Okay, and we can afford to have him at the show. We're getting a discount because he's part of CG, and he's going to be a show on Friday and Saturday only. So if you want to go see, and Art doesn't do many shows this year, so if you want, you've raised this much money, we can now have RT Bear at the show. I think that is where they're missing the boat, is they need to be focused on what creators do we have inside our group that can bring more people and more fans to us. So if we can get the normies who don't know that RT Bear is in Comicsgate, get him out to come out to the show, and they're all coming showing up in droves to have him sign the issues of X-Men they worked on over Jim Lee, and the issues they worked on over Dan Jurgens with Superman. Now we can have the opportunity, like, oh, you like his stuff? Well, if you like that, check out this book and check out this book. And these are CG books. These are, and it gives you the chance to get people in front of your booth that you can then get new fans who then back your next campaign. So I think that's where I think that like Ethan and Shane are. They're not. That may be their intention, but they're not presenting it that way. And so I think that they need to retool how they approach with this fundraiser. And as somebody said, it's basically it's a GoFundMe disguised as a crowdfunding event. So I think they need to refocus, kind of like how when Eric July did ISOM #1. He said these are the stretch goals, and the stretch goals weren't for what you get, or I should say, with these stretch goals, this is what I'm doing with this money, which will help me to be better with the next book. So you got to keep in mind, Eric July, he raised significantly less from ISOM 2 compared to ISOM 1, but because he did so well with ISOM 1, he was able to use that money to create the infrastructure he needs for the next books that he's going to make. And I think that's where Eric July was very smart with how he did his crowdfunding campaign for ISOM, that the follow-up books don't need to perform as well as the first one, but he's now got the infrastructure in place to now build and make that he doesn't need to make as much money and still make money, because those costs were taken care of with the first campaign. So I think Ethan and Shane and John Malin, they really need to be looking at that, because let's be honest, if you're not in CG and they have that John Malin is going to be at C2E2, it's be like, who is this guy? If you're not in the crowdfunding scene, if you're not in CG, John Malin's not a draw. The whole point of going to doing a comic book convention is treating it like a trade show, okay? Don't treat it like a flea market, which is how some people call it. Don't treat it like a goddamn flea market, okay? A comic book show that's a flea market, that is when you go to your local show that's in a small banquet hall at a local hotel, okay? That's what that is, okay? That's not what you want. You want to treat a Comic-Con, a big Comic-Con, not as a flea market. You don't refer to it as a flea market. It's a trade show. It gives you the ability to get big names, to draw more fans to you, but also gives you the ability then to recruit new talent, okay? Don't just sit behind your booth, okay? Walk around, see what other people are doing, going like, hey, this is a pretty cool book. When are you going to be doing the next one? Oh, it's going to take you 2-3 more years. Well, tell you what, how about if you do a crowdfunder in Indiegogo, we'll promote your book for you, or in Comicsgate, if you want to take the chance, because you got to keep in mind, the naysayers online, they're not the ones buying your book, okay? The people in front of you, they don't care about Comicsgate, they just want good books. We can broaden your appearance because we really like this book that you've produced. We think it's a quality story, good artwork. Now, we'll do this for you. Will you agree? Will you align yourself with us? That's what trade shows are. Okay, trade shows are making connections and selling your product to the maximum amount of people to back it and to use your services. And so I think that's how they need to be approaching it, not by using how they said in the past and referring to it as a flea market and just relying on the internet crowd to back your books. Get in front of in front of your audience, which are at Comic-Cons, and we gotta remember, these fans have at these shows, okay, tickets for a Comic-Con aren't cheap, so you're getting people who have money already. So now it gives you a chance to get in front of them. Here, you can buy. Here's Inglorious Rex 1 for you to buy. This is an exclusive to this show, so it has a low print number, but then we have an advertisement here in the back of the book telling you when the next campaign's coming, and gives you the ability to then back it, so then you can get issue 2, and you can get yourself back. You can then back issue 3 when it's available. So I really do mean it when I say that these guys need to change their approach for doing the C2E2 campaign. So, because I do look at where it's like, because you got to remember, when you go to these big shows and you have these big booths by the publisher, okay, they want to advertise themselves as being akin and on par with Marvel and DC being their biggest competitors now. They need to be like looking, hey, you love DC, you loved Marvel, Well, they're not coming out to the cons anymore. They're not giving you a presentation like this. Look at it. We've got a 32-inch TV that's playing ads for our campaigns nonstop, along with, interjected among them, clips from when we were on our YouTube shows having fun and basically calling out the industry for their faults, and they're labeling us as bad guys, but you agree with us that the industry is falling and they're not doing what they need to do. So I do think that they need to change their approach, and I do understand the reason why they're having to crowdfund is because you gotta be able to, they don't have the money like Marvel and DC would have to. Hey, Ivan Riaz, we've got a big story coming out through DC. We need you and Joe Prado to come up to the States for these shows because we want to help promote you guys. You guys are selling our books. We need you to be out at these shows to help sell even more books in the future. And we don't have the backing of Marvel and DC to have that big, beautiful booth presentation like they would always have out at San Diego. These guys don't have the corporate funding to do it, so they need to crowdfund it. But that's not how they're presenting it, and I think that that's wrong, and I think they need to reevaluate how their approach is to why they're having a crowdfund for C2E2 when anybody else who goes to C2E2 is footing that on their own dime. So, and again, I think that's also where I look at it, where this crowdfunding campaign that they have, they need to be communicating more with the small scenes and like, okay, these books are new and different, but what I was also making them new and different is it's going to have a 3-page preview of Joe Sontag's book. It's going to have a 3-page preview to the Diaz brothers' Lost Pages, or something like that, to get, so it's one of those where it's like, it's not just about them, it's about Comicsgate as a whole. And I think that is a book that, with those additions to it, is going to go much further than just republishing their own book. Because think about it, how hard is it for them to update a print file to include artwork and pages from other creators to help promote them? That's what part of a trade show is you want to get as many people as possible to your stand, to your booth, and you do that through awareness that it's not just about us, we also have these creators. Okay, we've got Dale Keown here. Look, we're going to include inside this issue, we're going to have a pinup of Dale Keown because he's all done covers for us. That cover is now being included in this book as a pinup. Ethan's has multiple illustrations done by Dale. Put them in his version as pinups in the back of the book. I personally think that that'll help go farther, along with how, like, Malin has his visions. Well, find all those images of Lilith that all these creators who are going to the show and have smaller tables, like Unhinged, Diaz, Joe Sontag, get them into your books so that way fans will be like, oh, and make sure you have notated somewhere at the table that, hey, go to these tables, these creators who are aligned with us, they're at the show too. You got to have something that's not just about the three of you, but it's about the movement overall, which means you got to be including these other smaller creators. Because you guys even know that these smaller creators is where it lends itself to the true strength of the movement. So, okay, guys, I've gone pretty long with this one. I apologize, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying, even though I like to ramble, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to get back to work. Pretty soon we'll have some people starting to show up. The bar, yes, the bar is empty, but not a lot of people here. I can understand that. It's a rainy, dismal day, and so everybody's staying home until about 1 o'clock when the games start. And we still got a while before that. So right now we still got Face the Nation playing on the TV screens. It gives you an idea of how early it is without in here. So, but that'll all change the closer we get to game time. So, guys, I hope you like this. Make sure that you are giving me a like. Please subscribe and comment and share. When I say comment, go into the comments and tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm a joke and a piece of shit, or if I'm right on the money, or how I'm completely off base. I don't know until you guys say something. So, guys, until then, remember, life is always stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.